Saw you standing in the cafeteria line. I'd have given the world just to make you mine. Saw you at your locker in the high school hall, and it didn't take a minute for my heart to fall. When you hear a sound like broken glass, that's my heart every time that girl walks past. When you hear a sound like the rush of wind, just me catching my breath again. Saw you on the bus on the way back home. You were sitting so pretty, sitting all alone. Couldn't think of anything much to say, except I'll love you forever till my dying day. When you hear a sound like broken glass, that's my heart every time that girl walks past. When you hear a sound like the rush of wind, just me catching my breath again. Seeing her now makes me think of then, and I remember how and I remember when. Go to a party hoping that she'd show, then you dance in the darkness to Abbey Road. When you hear a sound like broken glass, that's my heart every time that girl walks past. When you hear a sound like the rush of wind, just me catching my breath again. When you hear a sound like broken glass, that's my heart every time that girl walks past. When you hear a sound like the rush of wind, just me catching my breath again.
The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the Big Lake. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin.
Our hidden units have
As the
been
big freighters
discovered,
go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. Then later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound, and the wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late and the breakfast had to wait when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck saying, "Fellas, it's too rough to feed you." At 7 p.m. a main hatchway caved in. He said, "Fellas, it's been good to know you." The captain wired in, he had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril. Later that night, when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shameful
Farther
display.
below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. The iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shameful display.
In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early.
The other kids called him Conejo because he was fast on his feet, and he was quick with his fists if he had trouble in the streets. But when his old man would hit the bottle, he'd kick Conejo's ass. And with a wounded heart, Conejo swore he'd outrun his past. Run, Conejo, run. He boxed lightweight at the Olympic, down in dirty old L.A., and he earned his golden gloves by putting 16 fighters away. But the 17th one nailed him and blinded his left eye. So with busted fingers and a battered brain, kissed the ring goodbye. Run, Conejo, run. Run, Conejo, run. Run through the dark night into the rising sun. Run, Conejo, run. Singing in a barroom on the night that we crossed paths. We'd known each other all our lives, but finally met at last. And we ran these highways 20 years, fueled by beer and nicotine, from New York to Nogales and every joint in between. Run, Conejo, run. Well, he told me his life story, his joys and his regrets, from the hot streets of Tucson to a cold prison in Quebec, from his ex-wives and old lovers and the promises they believed, to the daughter in Louisiana that he never wanted to leave. Run, Conejo, run. Run, Conejo, run. Run through the dark night into the rising sun. Run, Conejo, run. It's 3 hours past midnight, and I'm driving Interstate 10, 100 miles east of El Paso, and I'm thinking of my old friend. Well, I know that I can't see you, but I can feel you by my side. So light up a cig, Conejo, and let's go for another ride. Run, Conejo, run. Run, Conejo, run. Run through the dark night into the rising sun. Run, Conejo, run. Run, Conejo, run. Run, Conejo, run. Run through that dark night to the rising sun. Run, Conejo, run.
Hidden units, my lord! Treacherously meant to ambush us! for display!
On that fiery day, when the towers gave way, New York had her heart broke. New York had her heart broke. Many heroes died trying to save someone inside when New York had her heart broke. New York had her heart broke. And I was there that day, and I don't know what to say, except New York had her heart broke. New York had her heart broke.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, my lord. Our general is in grave danger, my lord!
And the daylight felt dark, F-16s over Central Park, when New York had her heart broke. We were dazed in the streets from the blood and dust and heat, when New York had her heart broke.